Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, it's with a great pleasure that we welcome our competitors and also our cattle out here into the arena for round number 3 of the World Championship Campdraft. And we can see the beautiful cattle coming out here with Murray Wilkinson, one of the employees from the Elliston Pastoral Company. And we must say a huge heartfelt thank to the Packer family and all of the crew, Rob Tees and the team up there at Elliston Pastoral Company, for allowing us to have such magnificent cattle here at the Royal Easter Show. Camp drafting is an amazing sport, but it is absolutely nothing, Lindsay Douglas, without cattle, and we couldn't do it without Elliston Pastoral Company.
Indeed, they've been wonderful supporters of our World Championship Camp Draft. And I'll tell you what, as I'm looking out into the main arena now with each of our competitors warming up, God, they look sharp in those blue shirts, don't they, Tim?
They most certainly do. They are dressed by the best. Of course, RM Williams, wonderful supporters here. And we do thank Terry and the team from RM Williams for their generous support in dressing all of our camp drafters in 2018.
Well, in the words of Alan Jackson, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so if you want to have a drink while you're watching the camp draft.
It's 5:08 here. I'm going to the members and I'm going to have myself a Tyrrell's wine. And Tyrrell's, as long as I can remember, they have been supporting this camp draft for so long. I can't remember how long it's been, but to the Tyrrell's family, established in 1856, Australian owned and operated, based in the Hunter Valley, and Tyrrell's Wine, we thank them for their support of World Series Camp Draft here in 2018.
It's quite interesting that a moment ago we were watching a really prestigious Australian stock horse class and had a significant perpetual trophy awarded here. The reserve champion for that class is a man by the name of Warwick Lawrence, and he's pretty much jumped horse right now and he's back out here for the camp draft.
He's got a very busy afternoon, Warwick, and he did just win the champion working stock horse on that beautiful stallion, reserve champion in fact. But, Lindsay, we also have a couple of judges here judging our camp draft this evening. And, of course, it is a competition. There's big money we're playing for over the 6 nights of the World Series camp draft. And who is proceeding as our judges?
Well, in night 3, round 3 of our World Championship camp draft, we welcome Keith Horrigan, 35-year-old from Walker, who's just delighted to be here. He says it's just such a prestigious event. Looking forward to judging in front of a large crowd. Fred Patterson, he joins us from Gloucester. This is his 3rd time judging the World Championship Camp Draft, and he's judged camp drafting and Australian stock horses all over the nation.
Now, there is another man, because you and I claim to be jack of all, master of none, and there's another man who knows so much more about camp draft than you or I will ever know. In fact, what he's forgotten will be more than we ever know. It is great to welcome down here to the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Jimmy Callanan. Welcome, Jim, to centre stage.
Well, thank you, Tim and Lindsay, for the introduction, but my second name is Jack as well. I'm a jack of all trades.
Yes, but you certainly know a lot about the sport of camp drafting. What an exciting sport it is, and it is great to see Australia's own sport doing so well and have it here as the World Series event.
Well, there's no doubt about that, Tim. It's a great family sport, a good way to keep the family together, from the juniors, from the 8 and under 13, then the 13 and under 18. Then they go to the encouragements, and so it's a good way to keep the kids with mum and dad, and you know where they are and you know what's going on, because in the camp drafting family, a lot like other sports, they haven't got just one mum and dad. They've got many mums and dads looking after the youngsters.
They say a family that drafts together stays together, and that is so true. Hey, Jim, tell us, there are going to be some people here who know a lot about camp drafting like you do, but there's going to be some people who've never seen it before. Can you tell us a little bit about the sport, where it came from, and what we're going to see here tonight?
Well, Tim, I think there's going to be a lot of people here like yourself. You know, you've been a very fast learner over the first 2 rounds of the World Championship Camp Draft. You've picked up on everything that I've been telling you.
Have you heard of Dr. Google before? He tells you everything you need to know.
Okay, well, where the cattle have just gone into the yard, we call that the cattle camp. The cattle will be there, and the competitor will go in and make his selection there to our 2 judges, Fred Patterson and Keith Horrigan. And then they'll bring that one beast up the face of the camp, and that'll be out of a possible score of 26 points. So one judge might give 21, one might give 22, so that'll be 21 and a half. The course, it's a left-hand course tonight. The first peg, which is the green tree that you indicated to me on the very first night. So the green tree will be taken on the left. 2 points for that peg. They'll come back. They'll do a crossover. The second peg is taken on the right. They'll come back around and then form the figure 8. And then the 2 green trees close together in front of the members stand is what we refer to as the gate. And there's another point there, and that is 4 out of 4 for the course. Now, it sounds very easy, Tim, but sometimes it just doesn't go to plan like a lot of other sports. But we've got the very, very best of the competitors, the very, very best of the Australian stock horses and the Australian quarter horses doing battle as they've smelt the battle with delight from round 1. And we'll just see what comes out in round number 3.
Hey, we have seen some amazing results here over the first 2 nights of competition. We saw that magnificent score of 91 with Hugh Miles and Peel Vale Wishes to take round number 1. And last night, wasn't it great to see the young gun, April Langridge, and Jerker's Request take a win on 90.5. Mate, it is, you could throw a blanket over the top 5 or 6. In fact, the top 12 in this field at the moment is so close.
So close. The competition is wide open. It's anybody's draft. So from tonight onwards, it could be the turning point. Who comes up with the big runs tonight?
And, mate, you say it looks so easy. I don't think it is so easy. You're trying to tell me that you're not only trying to control yourself, your horse, but also a beast. So not 1 heart, not 2 hearts, but 3 hearts need to come together to try and make this competition work.
Yes, and there's another thing that plays a little bit of part in that too, Tim, and that's a little bit of luck. You talk to any of these competitors, you can have the very best horse, the best rider on it. You just got to have a little bit of luck to see if you've picked the right beast. You're only got to be a half a stride out of step, and it could be the difference between getting a peg and missing it. So with a little bit of luck, and when you've got a very good horse and a very good competitor, and you get those things all come together, that all works out very well.
I think that's what I love about the World Series Campdraft here at Sydney Show, because you really do get the best of the best, because you could get lucky on maybe 1 night, maybe 2 nights you might get lucky. If your name's Jim Callanan, you might get lucky 3 nights. But to get lucky 6 times in a row, it's not going to happen. So you talk about luck, Jim, but I think these guys make their own luck in a sense, because it's consistency that's rewarded at the end of this competition.
And the other thing, Tim, is that I don't know whether you have noticed tonight, but have you noticed anything different tonight?
The camp's on the other side of the arena?
No, besides the camp over here on the opposite side.
Are we going on a different run? Are we running on a right-hand course, not a left-hand course?
No, we're going on a left-hand course.
Okay, I'm lost.
Well, the wonderful line of Hereford cattle from Elliston, and the wonderful Hereford cattle, they're red and white.
I do know the Herefords, and I'm sitting here saying to Lindsay, if you could see my facial expressions up here in the broadcast box, I was scratching my head. You had me there, son.
Now, there's another thing that comes in red and white.
What's that?
And that is our great sponsor, Tyrrell's Wines.
Of course. They come in only the best red and the best types of white wine that you could ever want to drink. And in fact, it's all our camp drafters do drink.
And there's one other thing that comes in red and white, Tim.
What's that?
Is my favourite football team, the mighty St George Dragons.
I thought you were going to say someone else, the St Kilda AFL team, but that's okay. All right, our first competitor is into the arena, and who have we got tonight, Lindsay?
Well, that's right. We've got Nigel Cable in first. This man has actually taken this out 4 times. He's a World Championship camp draft veteran. He's won it for the last 3 years in a row. And on the first night here, for the first round, he actually took out first place. He's on a horse by the name of Chevin Ivory, a 20-year-old black stallion, and he comes from a tiny little town of Rydal in the central west of New South Wales. Well, Nigel Cable, he's been campaigning this horse for 16 years, and they're certainly an enviable combination.
Well, thank you, Lindsay. And Nigel is about to make his selection on one of these magnificent Hereford steers, and he makes his selection. And Chevron Ivory says to, come on, boss, we're about to go into action. Just got to wait for one to drift off, and he does so now. So now Chevron Ivory goes to work. He comes right up the face of the camp. He does the 1, 2, the 3, the 4, and it won't be too long now. And it calls for the gate, and he steps out here. And and the beast has gone back down, and Chevron Ivory just steps around in front of him and blocks him up out into the Spotless Stadium now. It's a left-hand course. Chevron Ivory with Nigel Cable aboard. So let's go for the ride with him, boys and girls, mums and dads, as they come around the first peg. The magnificent Australian Stock Horse Stallion. The steer just slips a little bit here on the Spotless Stadium. Now he just sits up there, does the changeover. Nigel Cable, Chevron Ivory says, just leave the footwork to me. We'll just sit here. You just touch the buttons on the dashboard. And they come around the second peg. They got 3 out of 4 for the course. Boys and girls, mums and dads, we better get ready. We better get ready because Chevron Ivory's got it all under control. He's taken Nigel Cable for a wonderful ride. It's 4 out of 4. Magnificent camp drafting on round number 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will not see any better, I don't think, anywhere in the world. He has done it 3 nights in a row. He's put a score on the board. Put your hands together once again for Nigel Cable's Chevron Ivory. Well, as we wait for the score, we welcome contestant number 2 into the Tyrrell's yard this evening, Terry Hannigan, riding at Durkin's Onyx. They had an 86.5 on the first night. They finished 4th last night on an 88. Can they continue the upwards trend? This 10-year-old gelding, sired by My All Springs Omar, and Onyx is a soft, easygoing horse that the whole family can ride and enjoy.
Nigel Cable with Chevron Ivory was 19.5 for cutout, 60.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 84 points. 84 points for Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable. So Terry Hannigan, the farmer from Canamble with Durkin's Onyx. They're just staring. Which one is he staring at? He's about to make his selection. He just wants to take a little step over to get the beast to walk out. And he does so now. So Terry Hannigan makes his selection, the very dark Hereford steer, the red and the white. He comes up the face of the camp. Does 1, does 2, does the 3. Oh, and the beast has just slipped him down the gate. He wants to go back down the back to his mates. He calls for the gate. Out in the Spotless Stadium, Terry Hannigan with Durkin's Onyx. And around the first, Durkin's Onyx just goes up, hits the beast, and Terry's going to give it away. So there goes our judges' stock whips, and unfortunately a cutout score there only.
Poor luck tonight for Terry Hannigan, but next in camp will be Hugh Miles on Peel Vale Wishes. They'll be wanting to replicate their night 1 performance where they came out in first place with a score of 91. He loves his horse Wishes, the chestnut mare who he's been campaigning for 8 years. She's quarter horse and Australian stock horse, and in 2017 she was one of the top 25 open horses according to the ABCRA. She's won multiple open drafts and has been a cutout winner on many occasions. They run Peel Vale Stud up in Tamworth, and wasn't so long ago that Hugh Miles was announced as the ABCRA most successful rider.
17.5 points there for Terry Hannigan and Durkin's Onyx. 17.5 points for Durkin's Onyx, ridden by Terry Hannigan. So Hugh Miles, about to make his selection, just brings turns the beast back down to his mates. About to make his selection. Looks like he's just got to go in and move them around. So he makes his selection, the pole Hereford. Once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company, to the Packer family, to Rob Teague, Scott Mitchell and the team. As Hugh Miles goes to work with Peel Vale Wishes right up the face of the camp, he calls for the gate. Steps right into the centre of the camp and comes out into the Spotless Stadium, and Peel Vale Wishes and Hugh Miles. Oh, and look here, let's go for the ride here, boys and girls, mums and dads. And you can nearly feel the adrenaline as we come around the first peg. Hugh Miles, he does a beautiful changeover. They're going to tighten it up around the second peg. And look at Wishes, says, just leave the footwork to me. Just sit about here. Oh, and things are looking good. They got 3 out of 4 for the course. Oh, let's get excited. Can Peel Vale Wishes and Hugh Miles. It's looking very good. They go towards the gate, and it's looking very good. It is a perfect run. Magnificent. Give him a great round of applause. Hugh Miles with Peel Vale Wishes.
Fist pumps all round. Well run for Hugh Miles. As we next into the camp while we wait for Hugh's score will be Brendan Fitzgerald. He finished second here last night with an 89.5. The young gun, as he's known, Woody around the camp. He rides More Rocks, a single grazier from Roma in southwestern Queensland. And More Rocks is a 7-year-old stallion, brown in colour.
A score now for Hugh Miles with Peel Vale Wishes was 23 for cutout, 64 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 91. 91 points for Peel Vale Wishes and Hugh Miles. As we go with Brendan Fitzgerald from Roma with More Rocks, and they sort of going to put the rocks and rock a bit more up the face of the camp. He calls for the gate. Out into the Spotless Stadium now around the first peg, and More Rocks with Brendan Fitzgerald around the first peg very nicely as indeed. Now More Rocks now says, "Oh, just sit back here a little now." Brendan Fitzgerald, they're going to tighten it right up around the second peg. Oh, they nearly take the leaves off the tree. Now they come around, oh, and nice bit of horsework there too. More Rocks says, "Just leave the footwork to me." Brendan Fitzgerald, I think we're going to see something special. I think we're going to. There's another 4-round course in the World Championship Campdraft in round number 3.
Well, as we await another hopefully exciting score there for Brendan Fitzgerald, the next in camp will be a man that's just jumped off the reserve champion in our working Australian stock horse class. That was Willoughby Accelerator. But this time, our man Warwick Lawrence is on Proud Little Pepto, a quarter horse he's imported out of the USA, a horse that's had a very successful cutting career over there and has only done about 2.5 years of camp drafting over here.
So a score there now for Brendan Fitzgerald with More Rocks was 22 for cutout, 64 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90 points, 9-0 for More Rocks and Brendan Fitzgerald. So Warwick Lawrence now with Proud Little Pepto. He's about to make his selection. He just goes in there, he says, well, they're not going to walk out on his own. He says, I'll just go in here, let them walk up and I'll let the others drift away. Proud Little Pepto says, I'm ready when you are, Warwick. And the anticipation, you can see the horse just flicking one ear and flicks the other. Now he goes to work. He says, I'm ready now, Warwick. He says, I'll take you for the ride. Right up the face of the camp. 1, 2, 4, 5. And nearly unseats him as well. Out into the Spotless Stadium. Warwick Lawrence with Proud Little Pepto. And he goes to work. He just sits back there around the hip area. Oh, and... well, how about a round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen? They don't knock the magnificent horses around. He knew that things were coming undone. So there'll be a cut-out score there only.
Jim talks about the luck as we were talking at the prelude. There was unfortunately unluckiness there for that combination. While we wait for a cut-out score for Warwick, we now move on to Troy Palmer. He finished third with an 89 last night, and he rides one of the crowd favourites, the 16-year-old stallion by the name of Binia Impressive Destiny, or ID, as many of them talk about. What a combination this has been. This horse has won so many competitions. The winner of the World Camp Draft in 2013. And this man, Troy Palmer, married to Fiona, a horse trainer and grazier.
So 23.5 points there for Proud Little Pepto and Warwick Lawrence. 23.5 for Warwick Lawrence and Proud Little Pepto. As David and Peter Kelly put the beast back out into the spent yard. So we move on now to number 6. Troy Palmer is about to make his selection, and he makes it so too, and brings the big tall pole Hereford steer up the front. And Impressive Destiny, they go to work as well. Right up the face of the camp they go. Oh, he goes one way, goes the other. He slips down the fence, but any Impressive Destiny's got it all under control. Goes one way, goes the other. Now the other two relations have come up as well. Says, now I just want to stop with me friends. They drift away. He calls for the gate. They step out now onto centre stage in the Spotless Stadium. Troy Palmer with Binia, Impressive Destiny, as ID, as Tim says they refer to him around the stable and around the Camp Draft arena. As Troy Palmer and ID, they do their changeover. They got 2 out of 4, and look at ID, moves right up onto the beast's shoulder. They go looking for 3 out of 4. They've got it now. They do the changeover now. Oh, let's get ready. Let's get ready. He's going for the big points on the gate. It's looking pretty good. And ID and Troy Palmer, Champagne Camp Drafting, round number 3.
Well, you talk about champagne cap drafting as we wait for that score for Troy Palmer. It was this little lady last night who's only 20 years old, who up until this year had never competed in this event at Sydney Royal Easter Show. She's the young one, possibly the underdog, but last night she came through with the biggest score, a score of 90.5 and a big smile on her face too. She's riding a horse called Jekka's Request. Now, Jekka has done a ton of campaigning, a heritage stock horse who's been the maiden horse of the year in 2012 for the ABCRA, a runner-up all-round camp draft horse. Meanwhile, our rider, April Langridge, she's been riding for 14 years, started competing as only an 8-year-old, and she's gone ahead to win 4 national titles to date. She spent the last 8 months actually competing and training horses in Queensland. She's just moved home, where she set up a training and campaigning business on the central coast of New South Wales.
Now a score for Troy Palmer and Binia Impressive Destiny was 17 for cutout, 63.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 84.5 points. 84.5 points for Binia Impressive Destiny, ridden by Troy Palmer. And our cattle stewards, Dave and Pete Kelly, just puts the Hereford steer back over there with his mates, and they'll be getting ready for their trip back home to the top of the Hunter Valley. So April Langridge. She says, now I just need one just to run like it did last night. And as Lindsay was just saying, it was a beautiful round. A great combination. Jekka's Request and April Langridge. And Jekka's Request says, come on, April, we can do it again. You just pick the best of the beast. Comes right up the face of the camp. She calls for the gate. She steps out now into the spotless stadium. And Jekka's Request with April Langridge. Oh, they got a fast one. She got a fast one. Can she do it? Come on, girls and boys, let's ride with her as they make their way around the first peg. And Jekka's Request says, yes, I can catch it when you say go, as they press the dials on the dashboard. And look here, Jekka's Request gets right out along the beast camp drafting, trying to turn it around. Well, but give her a lovely round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
She did everything she could. She hung on its shoulder for as long as she could, but unfortunately sometimes that third heart doesn't want to play the game. While we wait for April's score, the next rider into the camp will be Sue Duggan. She was 5th here on the first night with an 87. She completed last night with an 86, but not quite into the placings. And she rides at Quindella Chief, or Chief as he's known around the stables, an accomplished all-round horse for the entire family. He's 18 years old, an Australian stock horse, and he's been campaigned for 14 years.
And a camp score there for April Langridge and Jekka's Request of 21 points. 21 points there for Jekka's Request, ridden by April Langridge. So the competitor of the moment, one of our lady competitors, Sue Duggan. She gets the nod from the judges. They're ready to go. Quindella Chief, Sue Duggan from Coolah. And she gets the pole Hereford steer away nice and cleanly now. Quindella Chief, Sue Duggan, number 8 in the draw, round 3. And she steps out onto centre stage. And Quindella Chief and Sue Duggan now. What can they do now? Round number 3. Things are looking pretty good. She says, yes, I'll just sit back here. Quindella Chief says, we've got it all under control. Now they come around. They've got 2 points for the first peg. 2 out of 4. Now they go towards the second peg. And she's going to try and tighten things up a little bit. Got a nice, kind running steer. Around the second peg they come, and the steer says, just follow me. I'll take you over here towards the gate. They got 3 out of 4. They head over towards the gate. The 2 close pegs together as the trees that Tim referred to them in night number 1. And things are looking pretty good. Give her a lovely round of applause, girls and boys, mums and dads. That was Sue Duggan with Quindella Chief.
Well, as we wait for Sue's score to come through, I'll tell you a bit about our next fellow in camp. His name is Adam Sadler. And in the last few years, you would have found him where you are, ladies and gentlemen, sitting in one of those red seats, enjoying watching the camp draft. For this is his first year as the camp drafting competitor in Sydney Royal Easter Show. He's had 25 years, though, outside of this competition competing. Comes from a town of Bunnan in the Upper Hunter. His name's Adam Sadler. He's riding Tajano Spin.
Okay, a score now for Sue Duggan with Quindella Chief was 21 for cutout, 61 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 86 points. 86 points for Sue Duggan and Quindella Chief. Number 9 now, Adam Sadler with Tajano Spin as they step out now into the big arena here at the Royal Easter Show 2018. Around the first peg they come, Tajano Spin. Got it all under control here. They got 2 points for the first peg. Now they're going to do the changeover, and I think he's going to try and tighten it right up. They come around now. The steer runs on nicely. And Tajano Spin and Adam Sadler, they're looking for 3 out of 4. And he's got it now. Now they head towards the gate. They're looking for 4 out of 4. Come on, Sydney. Royal Easter Show 2018. Let's give him a big warm welcome as he lines it up. It is a perfect run. Adam Sadler, Tajano Spin. And I know Alison, she'll be doing a bit of clapping out there in the crowd.
What a run. What a way to go. The score to beat, he needs a 91 to be ahead of Hugh Miles, our current leader. Brendan Fitzgerald sitting in second at the moment on 90 with Sue Duggan on 86. We'll wait for Adam's score. While we do that, we welcome out Tony Mortimer into the camp, riding Ghost of Abbey. Had a 5th place the first night with an 87. The beautiful Cremello mare is 7 years old. She's an Australian stock horse. Tony Mortimer is 7 years old, is 43 years old, and this is his second year competing at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And when not competing in camp drafting, he's a truck driver and plant operator.
So a score now for Adam Sadler and Tajano Spin was 22 for cutout, 62 and a half for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 88 and a half. 88 and a half points for Adam Sadler and Tajano Spin. So Tony Mortimer, Ghost of Abbey, they make their selection. Right up the face of the camp they come. Another beautiful pole Hereford steers. Many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company. He's out on centre stage here on round number 3. And Ghost of Abbey, Tony Mortimer. And Ghost of Abbey says, well, just let the steer run on a little bit before we go right to him. He comes around the first peg here now. And Tony Mortimer and Ghost of Abbey, they do the changeover. They got 2 points for the first peg. He's looking for the second peg. He just says, oh, just let the steer run on a little bit. He comes around the second peg, and Ghost of Abbey says it's probably time we start to make a little bit of a move. And he moves around towards the beast's shoulder and turns around. Oh, boys and girls, mums and dads, can they do it? Can they do it? Can they do it? Oh, look here, right through the middle, down the neck of the bottle. Oh, and in great anticipation there, Tony Mortimer.
Boy, we're seeing some amazing runs out here this evening, Jim. Next in camp will be Gav White. Gav was second here last year in the 2017 World Championship Camp Draft. He was 5th overall in 2015, all on horses that he's trained himself. This year he's out on Ashcat Destinations Diva. Diva's finalled in the Landmark Challenge in 2016 and won and placed in camp drafts all over Australia. 7-year-old black mare who's been campaigning for about 3 years. She's an Australian stock horse. And Gav White, well, when he's not here, he's a horse trainer at home.
Okay, a score now for Tony Mortimer with Ghost of Abbey was 20 and a half for cutout, 61 and a half for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 86 points. 86 points for Ghost of Abbey and Tony Mortimer. As we go now with Gav White and Ashcat Destinations Diva, and they might have a fast one too as they come around the first peg, and Gav White says, I like them to travel. And around the first peg we come as we pick it up and go for the ride with Gav White and Ashcat Destinations Diva, and now they do the crossover. They got 2 out of 4. They're looking for 3 out of 4, and look at Diva right up on the beast's shoulder. This is camp drafting. He sits off now. Finger touch control from Gav White and Destinations Diva. They head over towards the gate. I think we can. I think he can push it over. He's going to get it over. He sits back a little, and Diva says, leave the footwork to me. You just line the gates up. And can they? And there goes the time. We'll give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Just ran out of time.
So close yet so far for Gavin White. We'll wait for a score. He will get a score there. What it will be, we'll find out in a moment as we welcome out now Andrew Trapman. And he's nominated with his wife Trudy to come here, and he rides Digby, who was 4th here last year at the Sydney Royal Easter Show in the World Championship Camp Drafts. This is the 4th year competing for this combination. They were 2nd in 2010, 3rd in 2011. They were 2nd on night number 1. They've had 3 scores on the board, 2 scores on the board, I should say, a 90 and a 79.5. Andrew Chapman and Digby will be the next to go.
So a score now for Gav White and Ashcat Destinations Diva. It was 22.5 for cutout, 58.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 84 points. 84 points for Gav White and Ashcat Destinations Diva. So up to number 12 in the draw, the property manager from Nundle, Andrew Chapman with Digby. And Digby's no stranger to the Royal Easter Show. They're a great combination. And Digby says, let's go to work, Andrew. Come for the ride with me. Round 3 of the World Championship Camp. Oh, look at that. A magnificent blockers. 1 and a 2. And Digby says we're in fine form. They step out into the spotless stadium. And the steer just turns away off him here now. What can they do with it here now? They come around the first peg. And Digby says, come on, Andrew, keep coming. I think we've still got him around the second peg. He's going to tighten it up. Around the second peg they come. And Digby says, come on, Andrew, we'd better make a little move. Just sit here. And I'll go as soon as you say you think it's pretty right. And Digby now. And Andrew Chapman, they head over towards the gate. Have they got time? Can they do it? Let's cheer him on. Let's get ready to warm those hands up. Digby's working overtime. Andrew Chapman says, I think we can. Digby says, sure we can. And there's another full round course. Champagne Camp drafting again.
Well, as we wait for a result there for Andrew Chapman, boy, we've had some fantastic runs out here this evening. Ben Tapp will be next in camp. He's on a horse called Cool Dust, who's won more than 50 open drafts, 2 novices and 1 maiden, and has won 2 junior challenges, 2 open challenges, and his dam, Oak Stardust, won the Sydney Royal twice. Well, Ben will be looking to outperform his round 1 and round 2 scores. Both times not quite through the entire course, but on this 17-year-old mare who's had 13 years of campaigning under her belt, he'll be hoping for a good score here this evening.
Okay, a score for Andrew Chapman with Digby was 23.5 for cutout, 60.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 88. 88 points for Digby and Andrew Chapman. As now we move on now to Ben Tapp with Cool Dust and out into the spotless stadium. They've got a very fast one and across the arena. And Ben Tapp says we'll wait till round 4. We'll let that one go by in round number 3.
He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day, and that's what Ben has said as we welcome out now Paul Carlin and Heatwave looking to put a score on the board. Heatwave is a 13-year-old stallion who is by Acres Destiny and dual registered stock horse and quarter horse. They've been campaigning for 10 years. And they come from Rock Forest in New South Wales between Bathurst and Orange.
And a cutout score for Ben Tapp and Cool Dust was 21.5 points. 21.5 points for Cool Dust and Ben Tapp. So number 14, Paul Carlin with Heatwave. They make their selection. Just waiting for one to drift away. Just wants to stop up the face of the camp with his friend. Now he does. Oh, he says no. He just said not yet, but now he might. Now he does. And Paul Carlin with Heatwave calls for the gate. He's out on centre stage here in round 3 of the World Championship Camp Draft in this magnificent spotless stadium. And around the first peg they make their way, Heatwave and Paul Carlin and the magnificent Paul Hereford steer. He has a little bit of a look around. He flicks the ears back, the steer does, and has a look around. He says, gee, this is nice being here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And Heatwave says, yes, and I've got you covered as I come around the second peg. And Paul Carlin and Heatwave. Heatwave says, I'll just lay my ears back here a little bit. I'll have a little bit of a break. Now we'll just play it a little bit of cat and mouse. We goes here, we goes there. The steer says, yes, I'll go through there for you. And Heatwave says, yes, I'll make you go through. And there's Paul Carlin with Heatwave.
As we wait for Paul's score to come through, and he'll go pick up his hat that flew off there around the first peg. I'll tell you a little about our next in camp. It's Grant Watham. He has not won this event once but twice. He's had 15 years competing here at Sydney Royal Easter Show, and he's been competing in the World Championship Camp Draft since 1998. He's a 45-year-old man from Lochinvar in New South Wales, where he's an auctioneer and grazier. Tonight he's riding Samuel's Jewel Acres, the 11-year-old bay mare, beautiful Australian stock horse who's won 2 camp drafts, and he tells me the whole family loves riding Jewel.
Okay, a score now for Paul Carlin on Heatwave was 17.5 for cutout, 61.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 83 points, 8-3 for Paul Carlin on Heatwave. Grant Watham, Samuels, Jules Acres, right up the face of the camp they come. They do the 3, they do the 4, he calls for the gate. And got a lovely looking pole Hereford steering. You wouldn't expect anything else from Elliston Pastoral Company. And around the first, oh! Well, we talked about making your own luck there earlier, Tim. And now they go back to get that second attempt. And that's just how things can change. Now they come around the first peg on their second attempt. And Jules Acres, yeah, they do the changeover. And Grant's trying to pick up a few points now as he tightens things up around the second peg. Now they head out towards the gate, and I think, can they make the time? Because they lost a little bit of time on the first peg, but can they make it? Samuels, Jules Acres, Grant Watham, can they do it? Can they turn it around? Oh. Well, we'll leave that one in the hands of our Campdraft judges.
We are having an amazing camp draft here. We have just one competitor to go. To win the class, all she needs to do is get a score higher than 91. Sounds so simple on paper. And 90 is our current second. Hugh Miles, the leader. Brendan Fitzgerald on 90, sitting in second as we now welcome out Kira O'Brien. We've seen her brother, Warwick Lawrence, compete a little bit earlier. She is riding O'Brien's Reset and makes her way into the camp. And this is a 12-year-old stallion. And she is a biosecurity officer with the Hunter Local Land Services when she's not camp drafting.
So score now for Grant Watham with Samuel's Dual Acres was 21.5 for cutout, 54.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 79. 79 points there for Samuel's Dual Acres, ridden by Grant Watham. Well, another one of our lady competitors here for 2018, the World Championship Camp Draft. Many thanks to our sponsors, Tyrrell's. Tyrrell's make that magnificent red and white wines that Tim and Lindsay know all about upstairs. And the magnificent red and white pole Hereford steers as Kyra O'Brien goes to work. And O'Brien's reset, he's ready to go to work. She calls for the gate. They step out into the spotless stadium. And she's got one that's has gone around to the right of the first peg. But give her a lovely round of applause, girls and boys, mums and dads. She was trying. And we're only halfway through. That is round number 3 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And we'll have a cutout score coming through for you of 22 points. 22 points there for Kyra O'Brien with O'Brien's Reset. Well, unofficially, Hugh Miles has the highest score. Pilvar Wishes. We'll wait for the official word from our judges. But 91 points for Hugh Miles. Pilvar Wishes. They won't catch him. What a great round. This has been fantastic camp drafting. Once again, Jim Callanan, I think you'd have to agree the camp drafting has been what we said it would be, world class here at the Spotless Stadium for night number 3 of the World Series Camp Draft. Well, there's no doubt about that, Tim. Right from the very first night, it's just been absolutely brilliant. Been great to watch. Once again, without the magnificent cattle, great horses, great competitors, and a great atmosphere. It's all come together, and you're seeing the best of the best. So we're just about to get underway with our presentation of round 3. You first. Well,
there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. 3 nights of World Championship Camp Draft. Each night they come out here. They're in a different order from the night prior. And certainly the advantage for going out first is you get the first pick of the beast. But, of course, you don't know how they're going to run. The advantage of going last is you know what score you need to win. But the score was set early tonight by Hugh Miles on 91, and while some came close, he looks like he'll be fairly in the lead this evening, and he'll be pretty happy with that. He's had a really good score on night 1, a really good score on night 3, a terrible score on night 2, so he'll be good to be on the up and up once again.
Could we have... Well, the official results now come to hand. Congratulations to the winner, Hugh Miles, and Pilvale Wishes on 91 points. Brendan Fitzgerald and More Rocks in 90 finish in second place. Third place, congratulations to Adam Sandler and Hijo Spin with 88.5. Fourth place going to Andrew Chapman and Digby on 88. And in equal fifth place is Sue Duggan and Quindella Chief with Tony Mortimer and Ghost of Abbey, both scoring 86 points. And our man of the moment, man on the ground, is with our winner. We cross back down to Jim.
Thank you, Tim. And just doing the presentation to the winners of round three, former president of the RAS, Mr. Rob Vickery, along with our councillors, Mr. Duncan McIntyre and Mr. James Angus. But I'm with the winner of round three, well, Huey Miles. Win round three, things are looking pretty good. You couldn't wish for a better start for round one and round three, Huey?
No, mate, no. It's been ideal so far, so the hardest part's keeping it up.
Okay, so a great line of cattle again. You've been lucky enough to pick those right cattle, which is hard to do.
Yeah, mate. Oh well, I mean the cattle they've been pretty good, so which does make it easy. It is a credit to Elliston and the guys, and you know the way they handle them and the way they come out here, and yeah, it's obvious that they're good stockmen, and what they do at home is their program's working, so it makes it easy for us to pick them.
Pilvale Wishes you couldn't wish for any more from Pilvale Wishes, Huey?
No, not at the minute anyway. But yeah, like I said, the hardest part's keeping it up. They're all breathing down my neck still, so we've got to keep it up. That's the hard part.
Well, all the very best, and no doubt tonight when you go for dinner, you'll be going up there to open a bottle of?
Yeah, we'll be up that Tyrrells again. We'll be up it for sure.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, and all the best for the remaining rounds.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Okay, so there they are, the winner and place getters of round three of the World Championship Camp Draft. And once again, many thanks to RM Williams too for their contribution to the World Championship Camp Draft. Many thanks to you, Mr. Terry Goodyear, the CEO of RM Williams. So, Tim, we'll cross back up to you and Lindsay as they leave the Spotless Stadium after round three of the World Championship Camp Draft, thanks to Tyrrells.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen,